Alright, in this section, we're going to cover some easy stuff, actually. It may not sound easy, but you got your solo, your contour. Clicking on the wrong thing over here. You got your solo, your contour. In this section, we are going to cover solo, contour, your two EQs, and your global EQ, which will go up in the system and we'll play with that a little bit. So we'll start with solo. Solo is fairly easy. Solo can be turned on and off here. It could be a permanent part of your channel, or you can control it with your GAFC or GAFC-EX. And that only goes for the 100s on up. The GAFC does not work with the Katana 50. So you got your on-off switch here, obviously. And then you got your level. And then you have your solo EQ, which you can adjust all these parameters on your solo EQ, and you can put amp in or amp out. It's up to you how you want that to sound. Let's see if basically gives it a boost, but you also have the EQ. Now let's try amp out. Oh, I turned the EQ on in order to get that. You can hear the difference, but you also have, if you got it at flat, you're gonna have no effect on your tone. If you So that's basically solo. There's not a whole lot to it. You just have to play with these parameters in order to find your preferred tone, which is pretty much the whole amp. Now going over to contour, it's the same thing. You got 3 different contours. You can turn it right off. Or you can either turn it on off here or over here. It doesn't matter. We'll turn it on over here. And contour 1. You got 4 different types and a frequency shift. Let's go down to type 1. You hear a slight frequency shift when you do that. Go to type 2. And type 3. And you can customize these. Basically what I'm getting at is you can customize parameter, let's say contour 1, we'll just say type 1, and we'll put it at about, let's say 25. And then we're going to go to contour 2, we're going to put it at type 2, and let's say 0, because 0 is going to be 50. And then we're going to go to 3, and we're going to go type 3, and then we'll go to 25 again. It's a little lower. That's fine. Now let's listen to all 3 of them. If we go no contour off, or with contour off. Contour 1. Contour 2. And contour 3. I kind of like contour 3. I kind of like type 3 right there. So that's how to adjust and customize your contour. Now let's cover, we'll show you just the EQ. Now this is just what I have set up for this particular patch. And I've got just amp out. Let me show you how it sounds with amp in. Not much different. Sounds a little more muddier on the amp out. Or is it muddier on amp in? And I'll provide a link. I've got links over here for several tutorials, I guess you want to call it, some articles on EQ. If I was to spend any time here on EQ, I would be here all day. And we just don't have time for that because this whole guide is long enough. So I'm going to provide some links down in the description of the video of places that you can go check and kind of educate yourself on the different kind of EQs, whether it's graphic equalizer, what to cut where, and how to obtain that sound that you think you want. So over here, as you can see, making the cut, it says what to cut, instrument, human voices, the frequencies, why to cut, and what to boost and why to boost it. It's actually a very good article on your basic band type equalizer. And it's a good deep dive into EQ, which helps really round your tone out. Now let's go back over to Tone Studio, and that's your basic GE10 EQ. And you got two different EQs on here. You got a parametric EQ, which I'm going to show you in just a second. And I'm going to leave this one alone. So we're going to go over here, and here's your parametric EQ. Once again, you have amp in and amp out. And over here, you can run two EQs at the same time. But like I said before when we were covering modern effects, you can have an EQ here, an EQ here, an EQ here, an EQ here, and an EQ here. So you can run like 5 different EQs. It's insane. But parametric EQ, I also, this adjusts your tone with 4 different bands, as opposed to the GE10, which is 10 bands. Now, when you have things like flat, if they're at flat, the low cut is just going to be flat. It's not going to affect your tone whatsoever. As you start playing with them, you got low, mid, and high gains and cuts that you can play with in here. And parametric EQ is a great way to really round your tone out and make it sound so much better. For instance, let me pull up a screenshot I have of a settings I used for a different patch for my Snarly Dude patch up here. And I really like this. It's got a nice bottom end and it's not too high. For instance, for the parametric EQ, I have an example that I use in this Snarly Dude patch up here, and I took a screenshot of all the settings of it. And if you get a good sound like that, take a screenshot of it, because you may screw something up and you may turn something down and you don't remember exactly where it was before. So take that screenshot of it, save it somewhere. And a good thing about parametric EQ, it will work. If you get a good EQ sound, it will work for several different tones, especially if you're like, working with a clean or a distorted tone. So let's take these settings, and I'm going to pull them over here where you can't see them, but I've already got them up here in this other EQ part of here set for Snarly Dude. That's just a patch I made. Something slightly come out of tune. Whatever, we're just going to have to deal with it for now. Now this is all going to tie in together. But like I was saying, if you find a EQ setting you like in the parametric EQ, or even in the GE10, you can come up here into System, into Global EQ, and you can copy those settings. Not copy, like literally copy and paste, but take the screenshot of those settings you have and come up here and put them in your Global EQ. You can either put them in output or input or line or SP out. I like output myself. But we're going to take this and we're going to put parametric EQ. And we're going to make these adjustments. I have this one at 7 This one stays at minus 240. We're going to bump this down to 250. And we're going to put this at 5. High gain, we're going to put at 5. We're going to put level at 4. 4250. This is high mid frequency. We're going to put that at 1.6. And high mid Q is going to be 1. Low mid Q is going to be 1 as well. And high cut, I've got at 5. So we're going to see how this one sounds. We're going to keep this at the green one on output. We're going to close it up, and we're going to go back over to metal zone, and we're going to turn off, and we're going to see how it sounds. We're going to turn it on. See how that kind of really opens it up. It may not sound all that great, but let's turn off the 10-band EQ, see how it sounds. But yeah, your global EQ up here, you got 3 different settings. You can go in, you can change that one, you can change that to a GE10 and make all your adjustments in here. And those EQs will be available to you whenever you want to just, whenever you're going through. Let's go over here to, we'll go into clicking on the wrong screen here. We'll go into a Pink Floydish type patch. And let's adjust the yeah, it's always there, it's always available, it's like on and off. That's what the great thing about global EQ is. You can really dial stuff in. Now, obviously, like I said before, you got 2 different EQs, and I think we just about covered everything here. I covered contour, solo, and the EQ, and the global EQ. Let's go back over to, the Metal Zone 1, and we will turn on actually, let's go over to Snarly Dude, since they're both the same one. All right, I'll go over here, and we got 2 of them on. It's way too much. Let's turn one off. So we're going to turn that one off. But if you go up here, and you can choose output, amp out, input. It's a little more muffled there. Line out. And lastly, SP out. So those are all available to you in case like you want to input or output, or if you're recording out and you want to just switch that parametric EQ to line out, because actually this one sounds really good now that I'm hearing it through the amp. As opposed to that subtle difference, but it's still a difference. But yeah, play around. Get that tonal shape global EQ part set up for yourself. You won't regret it. And then, play with your EQs. Back what I was saying before, I have another link here for Parametric EQ. Actually, it's already up here. This is guitarmasterclass.net. I have no affiliation with them. And they go and explain the frequencies of the parametric EQ as well, and how you can kind of adjust that to round your tone.